compliment, Madam Chair. You've really been an outspoken and just unabashed champion of the census at every turn in this Congress. And so thank you for your leadership. And I remember we've had several hearings on this, and one of them was in New York City before the nightmare of the COVID-19 crisis took over. So Mr. Dillingham, Dr. Dillingham, welcome. Few simple questions. Is the word person synonymous with the word citizen in the Constitution, according to your interpretation?
Congressman, I want to thank you and all you're doing for the 2020 census, and I understand you also wear a hat as a constitutional scholar. So as I explained to the chairwoman earlier, that it was a very dynamic display of democracy here today with the differing opinions, both as to history and policy and legal analysis. And I understand that several lawsuits have been filed that will be looking at these definitions. So I have to beg off from offering any legal analysis or opinion myself, because my job is to administer the 2020 census.
Okay. My own little insight on it is that when the founders of the Constitution wanted to use the word citizen, they used the word citizen, like in Article 3, Section 2, establishing diversity jurisdiction in federal courts, where a citizen from one state could sue a citizen from another state. But here, in Article 1, Section 2, the founders said that the apportionment of representatives must be based on, quote, the actual enumeration of the whole number of free persons. So, I mean, can we agree that if the president's new interpretation is pasted onto the census, this will be a radical departure from everything that we've done for more than 2 centuries?
This presidential memorandum has nothing to do with our operation right now with the census. We're counting everyone. It has to do with a tabulation that has been requested on apportionment.
Right, but for more than 2 centuries, the census has counted all persons, right? And the administration's attempt to try to impose a citizenship question even was invalidated by a Supreme Court that Donald Trump helped to construct himself, but that Supreme Court said that this was a lawless effort by the administration, right? So, okay, so you, in other words, you're just going to remain agnostic on the constitutional question.
I think I have a professional obligation. It's the prudent thing to do.
Okay. Would you pronounce, at least on this one, has the text of the Constitution changed in the last 2 years?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. How long have you been with the census?
Just over a year and a half at this point.
Okay, but it's your understanding that non-citizens have always been counted in the census according to the constitutional text?
It is my understanding that the presidential memorandum is requesting for a change in the tabulation and calculation for apportionment purposes.
Okay, let me switch over to talk about COVID-19. Yeah. Are we taking care of our people sufficiently? Are you training your census count takers in all of the proper COVID-19 precautions?
We're certainly trying to. I think we are, but we're very vigilant on that. We're continuing to do assessments each and every day, 7 days a week, certainly with the data from the CDC, from Health and Human Services, the state data, the local government data. We actually have a fusion center that is monitoring developments 7 days a week. We have purchased the personal protective equipment. We have plans for obtaining more. We have a process by which everyone wears their mask. So yes, we are doing everything. We're very, very diligent, and we want to make sure that those practices are not only in the training, but we want to monitor. And so yes, I think we are doing an excellent job.
Okay. The reason I ask is that I've heard from a field enumerator in training who has quit or is planning to quit because of COVID-19. And this person told my staff that despite, your formal expressed commitment to taking care of everybody, they are not getting any real training on how to minimize COVID exposure in their work. So that they're given the Purell and a cloth mask, but no real instructions on how to conduct themselves to limit exposure. And so It would be great if you could get back to us.
Certainly.
Please do get back to us, if you would, with really what your plan is
Sure.
to fully educate the whole staff and to make sure that this is something we're on top of, because enumerators can obviously become super spreaders if they are not following the right precautions.
Congressman, we certainly will, and I will say that we do have challenges because a lot of our training is virtual training, but we are also improving that training, and I will say when we're hiring 500,000, 500,000 employees, I can't say there's never slippage, but we are doing what we can and will continue to enhance if we identify any needs.
Do you have a publication like COVID-19 Rules for the Road or specific instructions?
I don't have the training curriculum with me, but we can get you that.
Okay, if you would share it with us,
Certainly.
just so we get that out there. We want to make sure, one, that all of our enumerators are properly taken care of, and two, the public knows that, so that no one is afraid to interact with them.
Absolutely. And I might point out also, as I mentioned in the opening statement, that, we're in the early stages of launching the enumeration now. So we're learning at this stage. And on August the 11th, we will be basically enumerating nationally. So we have phased this in so that we can learn, and it is a very dynamic environment with the virus. And so we're learning as we go and doing what we can to make sure everyone's protected.
Well, I appreciate that, and you can become a model to the rest of the government and the rest of the country. I appreciate it. I yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The gentleman's time has expired. I now represent